even take the limbs off of a tree. But I'm gonna kick your ass for messing with me.
Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na. Yeah. Da-na-na-na. Yes, y'all. What's happening? What's happening?
Hey.
Peace and blessings. And then you say,
greetings and salutations.
Yes, I'm Inyaze, and
I'm Melissa.
That's right. And we are still currently married and awake at this moment. So, yay.
And so are the kids.
Yes. But we're not going to have a repeat of last episode, having the baby all up in the video, all up in the record, all up there trying to steal our shine. Okay?
I know. Basically making beats.
I'm saying.
Beatboxing on the mic.
We already know that he's talented. I mean, he's just always just showing off. I feel like he might. Could our child be a latent narcissist? No, you don't think so?
No way.
Okay, all right.
You're not born with that.
Okay.
As a result.
Okay.
It's a coping mechanism, so we are here to guide him away from that.
Right on. Okay, born again therapeutic. I like that shit. All right. Talk that talk. It has been a long time since we have spoken to you, and by long time I mean I don't even remember.
Over a week.
Yeah,
we're way behind, and this is supposed to be our 100th episode. I thought we were gonna have something special.
We were gonna do something really special,
fireworks and balloons.
We might have
activities.
Some old balloons in the closet.
Take home activities.
Blow them up or something like that.
Goodie bags.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It bees like that sometimes.
It really does.
And and you're welcome. You're welcome. We're here right now on the microphone.
You're here.
I hope you are here. That would be really bad if you weren't here. If you weren't here, that means I'd be wasting my time, and I don't like wasting my time. That's like my number one thing, and not liking to do. But anyways.
So what are we? We're in August 14th.
It is August 14th. The summer is almost over.
Summer is almost over. School's starting for the kids everywhere.
Yeah, earlier than it seems than usual. I remember summer lasting longer than this. Langston is going back to school crazy.
Summer. Kids now have 2 months, whether they're on year round or not.
I see.
At least LAUSD. I can't speak for other districts.
That is a big change.
It's pretty much down to 2 months. I feel like 2 years ago it was 2.5, and now it's basically a solid 2 months. But hey, I guess they should be grateful they get a break at all, and us too, right?
That's one way to put it. Amen.
So what do you want to start with?
Well, I just want to say. I would say I'm praying for all you parents out there who are doing your last minute shopping, who didn't budget correctly for all the clothes and all the stuff you're going to need, because it always seems like you got a couple more months to go.
Got to get a new backpack and a new lunch bag and new shoes. Did you see Langston's kicks that we got at Nordstrom Rack? He got some really cute
I ain't see those.
Chucks.
No, I ain't see those yet. But
they're super cute. I won't let him wear them.
I've been trying to get him to wear some Chucks for years, and he wouldn't wear no Chucks.
He likes these.
Okay, maybe getting some style. What's up, Deontay? Peace, man. Okay, let's get into some subjects. You were on a roll right before we started recording. You had a lot of things that you were on your mind, and you know what I'm saying. Why don't we just start talking about some of those things from the past that we've missed, and then we can catch up with some of these things that are more recent or whatever.
I love these comments from Deontay. He's like, take these kids. Because he's been home watching his kids, and I'm mostly home watching our kids. I sent him this really hilarious meme. It's a photo of Matt Damon. I think from, what's that movie? Or maybe Martian? I never saw it. But he looks fucked up. And the meme was like, when parents ask, how was the summer with the kids? And then it's that image, and you're like, I survived. That's basically how it feels sometimes.
Right
when
on.
you're with the kids all day.
Well, I also want to. I love, since we're talking about comments. Tosh likes the new Facebook TV filter.
I like it too.
Yeah, I added that. That's actually a little touch I put on to the show because I got a lot of spare time because I'm middle class and Trump's economy is keeping everybody warm and safe and well fed at night, and we should all be very grateful to our illustrious leader.
We are.
Yeah, everything is going really, really well. The tariffs are working. There's no corruption.
Right, no collusion.
There's
He
no
wrote it
collusion.
down.
There's 100% no collusion.
I saw it on the notes.
That's very important.
I saw the notes. It said no collusion.
And
so
it's a
clearly,
witch hunt. It's a witch hunt.
There's no collusion.
So we need to just get
'Cause he
behind
wrote it
our
down.
glorious leader and just stop being so ungrateful. You know what I'm saying? Just like Jim Brown said recently when he said that all these so-called athletes in the NFL, they should stop kneeling at the anthem because they have some respect. They should have some respect for the flag and the country and the troops, because the police are shooting the troops. And the troops are dying in the streets.
What's so ridiculous is that in theory, we could have a real discussion kind of nationwide about the flag and how to address, but they won't even address that people of color and specifically black people are being killed at a crazy rate by law enforcement, and that it is a lot of times it's due to racial bias and the racist systemic infrastructure of all of these things. But we can't even have that conversation, so we can't really then talk about how the flag and the kneeling of the national anthem is in protest of that, and how it's being politicized, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the whole.
I'm saying if we really want to talk about what was patriotic and not.
Well, clearly we don't, because
there have to be a baseline of truth.
Clearly we don't want to talk about what's patriotic for real, because, the monuments, the Confederate I just read a statistic that there are more Confederate monuments being built right goddamn now than there are being taken down.
Wow, I did not hear that.
What's really interesting about that, also coincidentally, is that in terms of Civil War enactors, there are fewer and fewer, right? So those are two disparate facts, but taken collectively, what I'm saying is that they suggest is that the assholes are getting smaller. The circle of assholeness is getting tighter, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? But the shit is much stinkier. Do you dig? I mean, my scatological metaphor. So I don't know. It's a silver lining kind of thing. It's like they're all going crazier, but there are a few of them going crazy. So if we just wait this out, maybe we end up with a country that's looks like a not racist version of Brazil. That would be great, right? Anyway,
it's possible. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just hopeful. I'm looking for silver linings. I'm trying not to be too negative about this whole thing, because right now, I mean, I keep seeing positive things in the primaries, right? I keep seeing who's that young lady from New York that won the primary.
Casio or something like that.
Yeah, I'm bad with names, but that sounds exciting. She seems to know what she's talking about. She's a socialist. I see statistics like, for the first time ever, more Democrats believe or have favorable feelings about socialism than capitalism for the first time ever. I mean, a lot of positive indicators is what I'm getting at. So I'm trying to balance that against my dread, my Hillary Clinton traumatic stress disorder. I'm trying not to read too many polls. I'm trying not to get caught up in the whole atmosphere, the carnival atmosphere of sort of guessing how well the Democrats are going to do in the midterm elections. A blue wave, a red wave, a purple wave. I don't know. I mean, all I know is that me and Mel are going to vote. I know we're going to vote, and I know we're going to vote for a Democrat, not because we came out of the womb Democratic, not because the Democrats didn't own slaves back in the antediluvian days, not because the people that call themselves Democrats today are good people, necessarily more so than Republicans or whatnot. We're going to vote Democrat because they're the only ones who are having the conversation about not killing black people. They're the only ones even having that conversation.
Yeah.
They're the only ones having a conversation about respecting trans rights, LGBTQ rights. They're the only ones even having that conversation. So we know what we're going to do in the election, but I have no fucking idea what you're going to do. I don't know. I just have literally no idea what you're going to do when you go out there and vote, because everyone said they were going to vote for Hillary and they did not. Hillary was going to win by a landslide. Polls said that. That means people reported that. And then that is not what happened. So I don't know what the fuck people are going to do, but I know what we're going to do. So anyways.
I was reading that these upcoming midterm elections are less dependent on people kind of changing their vote. Maybe if they voted for Trump or voted Republican, now voting for Democrats or progressives. But more so people who did not vote in the presidential election 2 years ago actually registering to vote this time, basically because they are unhappy with the results and then trying to affect some change by voting this time around. Although they are actively purging these voter rolls wherever they can. So who knows?
Who knows
how it's going to play out?
Who knows? I read an article today that an 11-year-old kid hacked into an election machine.
Wow.
So I mean,
Wow. Well,
Yeah. So I mean,
kids are all right.
The kids are all right. The kids are smart, but our government and our electoral system is dumb. What do we miss, honey? What do we miss from the last couple days?
I wanted to start, I guess, kind of just what's fresh in my mind. Did y'all see the premiere of Insecure?
Oh, hell yeah.
The third season of Insecure, which evolved out of the web series The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl by Issa Rae, premiered on HBO this past Sunday. I love it. I love it. I love the vibe and the tone of season
1000%.
3. They have basically not brought back Lawrence, Issa's boyfriend turned ex-boyfriend, but it was complicated. And although they had some sense of closure in their communication, they left it open whether or not we would maybe see him again. But as of right now, we are not going to see him. And I like that even on the trailer or the poster, it features Issa Rae, who plays, what's her name? Issa.
Yeah.
And her best
Issa
friend
plays
Molly.
Issa. Yep.
Played by Yvonne Orji, but both of them are now featured on the poster. And I noticed very clearly in the premiere that it has scenes where Issa's the main character and it's dealing with her relationships. And there's equal time towards Molly's character and her relationships. And it really is about, I feel, these two friends moving through life with insecurities. Yeah. And, in their attempt to just live and deal with work and relate romantic relationships.
That's one of the joys of
I like it.
That's one of the joys of a scripted comedy that is allowed to find its legs. And HBO has always been a really good environment for that. Is that I love to see how they balance out the narratives because they see who people are into. They respond. They respond to
quickly,
what people are responding to. Yeah. So I obviously we all very much felt Molly's character. I was very invested in the whole open relationship thing.
Yeah, I think that was a win for them, and it was obviously very smart to continue to develop that. And Molly at the center of that.
And it was a huge payoff in the first episode. Even I love it.
They start with like a new conflict. They raise the stakes in that relationship.
Yes. Also, shout out to
same with Issa and Daniel.
Absolutely. Also, if you like tight black masculine butt, that you get that literally every episode. It starts off.
Well, they know who their audience is.
They clearly know who the audience is, and I like the dynamic that was set up.
I don't think it's too much or excessive, though.
No, it isn't. It isn't like slutty.
We see naked women.
Yeah. Nobody's depicted as a slut, really. Nobody's depicted as nobody's really objectified except the male ass, honestly. Which is
it is a
fair play. Which is fair play. I think that's fair play.
Even True Blood had the orgies, so
yeah, and you also had Sam's naked ass whenever he would turn into an animal or something.
Oh my gosh, right? We saw a lot of that actor's booty.
Yeah.
Oh my god, now that I think about it,
almost every episode.
Every time he changed into a werewolf, we saw that booty.
It was a lot of booty. We
saw that booty shot.
HBO is really
we saw Sookie's breasts a lot, and
that's
I was
true.
Like,
that was like all the time too.
They were like, oh,
there was a minute where HBO was borderline porno, where it was just
when they had Marianne or whatever, like the Dionysian goddess.
Yeah.
Then it was just like all sex.
It was
all bon temps orgies for
all the time.
Basically 20 minutes out of, or I guess it was an hour, 40 minutes out of 60.
That was a good time. So I used to love that show.
That was the last watchable season.
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, that was the last one, and then we hung on for another 4 years.
Why?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Why?
I'm taking y'all back. Some of y'all don't remember this.
Watch Insecure if you're not already. It's a good show.
Watch Insecure. Let's
and there's a lot. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we might as well talk about those movies when
yeah, that's what I was going to. There's a lot in Black art and entertainment and culture and ways to support, and not just Black, because there's also another people of color film I want to encourage people to see.
All right.
But Sorry to Bother You has been out for several weeks. It's super indie. If you like indie quirky films like Michel Gondry and Wes Anderson, you're like, damn, I know Black people living quirky lives. I've heard this is the movie for you. It's starring Lakeith Stanfield from Atlanta, playing Darius, and in that show, and Tessa Thompson, and directed by Boots Riley, who I guess was like a hip hop music producer. Is that the story?
Boots Riley was a member of the Coup.
So maybe check out, if you have time, check out an indie film. Also, Spike Lee's film Black Klansman, starring John David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's son.
Which is amazing.
As a police officer who goes undercover with the Ku Klux Klan, basically infiltrates via his voice. And then they use a white police officer to actually meet them in person. It's interesting now that I'm talking about it. In both films, one of the central premises is that the Black actor uses a white voice when whatever their quote unquote white sounding voice is. They used it to
David Cross. They used the voice of David Cross for him.
I don't know who they use in Sorry to Bother You. I think it might be Armie Hammer.
No, well, for Lakeith Stanfield, they're using David Cross's voice. David Cross
who are they using?
From Mr. Show.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, even
Who's
if
Armie
John,
Hammer?
The white dude from Call Me By Your Name and some other things, but even if it's not a white male actor doing the voice in Black Klansman, still the caveat in the film is that there is a white voice, a Black male using his white voice.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yes, absolutely
make the contact and connection, and that drives the story.
Yes, absolutely. Which
is
a
very key part of both films.
An interesting,
because it drives the story forward. Okay,
yeah.
And it just happened they coming out at the same time. Check them both out. This is a much bigger film, and I was saying it was kind of cool. You know, turns out Denzel's son's a great actor. Hey, like, you know, Ballers. I don't really watch it, but he's much more of a supporting role. This is him in a lead role with Spike Lee. Clearly, Denzel and Spike have a long history of working together. It's just a beautiful legacy that they have there. And someone pointed out that, like, on a subway station platform, they saw two posters side by side. One was Denzel in for Equalizer 2, and right next to it was a poster of his son, his big old face, as a lead for Black Klansman. Isn't that a fucking amazing? I'm like, damn, that's how you fucking do that shit right there. That's hard.
That's legacy.
Right there.
Legacy. So
that was beautiful. Go see those films. And then the other one, it's not out yet, but the director, Barry, what's his name? Moonlight? Barry Jenkins. Is directing If Beale Street Could Talk, which is an adaptation of an amazing James Baldwin novel by the same name. And the trailer for that film is out on the interweb, so you should actually go look that up and plan to see that film. And then lastly, this is not a film featuring Black people, but for the first time in, like, I don't know, 30 years, it is featuring all Asian people, all Asian actors. I'm talking about Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
based
I want to see
on
that.
A best-selling book. The trailer is amazing.
It's got 100% on Rotten Tomato right now.
It's supposed to be super entertaining. It's exactly what you want from, like, a big romantic comedy with an ensemble cast. One of who is Constance Wu, who plays the mom on Fresh Off the Boat, and she'd been in other things, but she's a great talent. You know, it's everything that, you know, Hollywood normally sells. It's attractive people who have got money, and almost like a not Jane Eyre. What's the one where the girls, Emma, where the girl's always trying to be matchmaker, and then, you know, she's the one not missing all the cues. I mean, I'm sure that's not exactly how it is, but it's definitely
or it may be exactly the way it is.
Possibly. And or it's like, okay, is the rich, handsome prince gonna marry the other rich girl who doesn't have a lot of depth, or is he gonna marry the lower income, lower class woman who he has a genuine connection with? I think that's more the premise. Either way, go see it. I mean, we can't just talk about representation and diversity and inclusion and it only be about Black people. Not if you're, I think, in my opinion, you're really about moving the culture forward as a whole, because we're just on the front line, specifically here in America, for any type of advancement towards inclusion. But if we don't use that same energy and voice to offer the same equality and representation to our trans brothers and sisters, our Native American peoples, our Asians and other, entertainment and talent, et cetera, then it really ain't about shit. I just have to say.
No, I think you're right.
We're modeling the exact same racist bullshit that the white culture has already established. And it's that it don't work like that.
I agree with you, but I'm going to spin a little nuance. It's been a long time since we disagreed on anything, but this is a very slight one. So my thing is that because I watch a lot of Transformers, action films by Michael Bay, Avengers. I like a lot of action films with big special effects. So the thing that I've been noticing since the late 90s, early 2000s, really, ever since we sort of formalized long-term trade relations with China, is that it's been mad pandering towards Chinese audiences. Mm-hmm. But what I like about Crazy Rich Asians specifically is that it's not an action film. It's not Godzilla. It's not.
Right. It's not Jackie Chan.
It's not Jackie Chan.
It's not The Crow.
Ain't nobody doing no karate. Exactly. It's a rom-com.
I love as well that they were shopping this around and they literally loved the story and just wanted to change the entire cast to white people. And they're like, that is literally not the story.
Yeah, that's
awful. That's completely not the story. And they stuck true to their guns because this is before Me Too and, the Black Renaissance or whatever we're calling it, in terms of shopping it around and trying to get it. It's done? Okay, go brush your teeth. And I'll come in. Y'all. Turn it off and go brush your teeth. It had to happen, y'all. You know it had to happen.
Yeah, we might have to take a little break for a minute, but we'll come back in a second.
And it won't, it's better than them coming out here.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad that they stuck to their guns and that the culture is slowly catching up. Boy, I say go brush your teeth. You're not gonna come up in here and ruin the show. His face is just
Lord
adorable
every time.
Oh my God, he knows the camera. Come on, say hi.
That's what you want.
Let me lift you up. But
how do you even know that what we're doing?
He knew. He said they on camera.
It's absurd.
He said they are on camera.
It's absurd. This is what I'll say.
Oh, here we go singing.
What you saying?
What are you gonna say? Ready? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. You wonder what you are up above the world. So
shameless exploitation of our children's cuteness.
In the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, say goodnight.
Shameless exploitation of our child's youth and cuteness.
Yep,
shameless.
Let's go. Stop trying to press buttons.
That's what we say.
I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field and don't notice it.
That's all I'm saying. It's just a terrible thing. All right, while Mel's away, we shall play. Let's look at some news. What's going on here? Let's look at some headline news, shall we? All right, this is a fun one. All right, let's get into some good stuff. After we watched my son sing fentanyl. You know fentanyl, your favorite drug and mine. The drug that killed Prince. The drug that gets you higher than motherfucking gas. Yeah, well, guess what else it does? It kills inmates dead, like Raid, and it's been used to kill people dead now. Legally in Nebraska for the first time. So that's happening, man. Your country. They couldn't get the drugs to do the normal lethal injection because the normal lethal injection was just too, complicated. So why not? Why not? Let's use fentanyl, the Prince killer. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. So that's what we're doing, folks. We can't get the drugs that kill you without you noticing. So we got the drug that kills you in a heartbeat. And that's what we're using to kill people now in Nebraska. God bless them. God bless America, man. The heartland. You know what I mean? Omarosa, your favorite of mine. You know Omarosa. Come on. Yeah. She worked for Trump. She was on The Apprentice. You know, right-hand woman. She's got an amazing, flawless weave game. Everything you can love, right? Everything to love. Went to work for Trump. Things didn't work out. You know, it wasn't a good culture fit. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't blending in enough, I guess. Wasn't getting invited out to play with all the other reindeer. So, Chief of Staff fired her. Luckily, she kept receipts, y'all. That's right. Luckily, she liked to do something that we refer to as taping a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Danielle Storming him. Danielle Storm? Danielle Steele? I don't remember. Anyways, she's taping them. She got the receipts. She knows what's going on, and she knows what you want to hear, because even though she is probably never getting into Wakanda, she is vociferously lobbying for a position in the foothills to herd the goats. Okay? So first she came out with some tapes to show that she had been fired without Trump's knowledge, or at least she had tape of Trump pretending that he did not know. And that is great. That is wonderful. What a nice thing for him to do, right? To pretend. Because, you know, if you pretend to care, that means you care. All right? And that's Trump's whole agenda, right? So anyways, not only that though, it gets better. She's got a lot of storage space on her iPhone, so she taped everything. And so she mentioned that Trump liked to use the word nigger with the hard R, because I have a hard time imagining Trump using nigger with the soft A. These niggas. No, I don't see that. These niggas. I don't know. How do you do a Trump impression saying niggas? I don't even know how to do a Trump impression. That's how I'm constitutionally predisposed not to be able to fuck with Trump. You dig what I'm saying? So I can't do a Trump impression to save my life. But imagine Trump going like, niggas, these niggas. Okay, so it sounds ridiculous. Obviously he said niggers. Right? Hard R. We know what's up. Okay? And there's tape of people discussing him using these hard R's, because we can't let that get out. Because you can only be racist in action, not in identity. Do you dig what I'm saying? You can only do racist shit. You cannot be a racist. It's physics. Come on, people. Work with me. Keep up. Jesus. So, and the third thing is she dropped what they call a bombshell that Trump knew about Hillary Clinton's emails before WikiLeaks. And how did he know that? How, people? I'll tell you how. Because WikiLeaks is Russian for P-tape. Right in front of your faces. Right in front of your faces. And look at you. You missed it. You missed it. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Well, this is a good one. Oh, goodness. This is great news. Monsanto. You heard of them? They're awesome. What do? They make all the seeds for the stuff that grows. Right? But they're so dope in making seeds, they can genetically, alter them to make them only work the way they want them to work. Hey. So anyways, Monsanto, who are basically the boogeymen, okay, the makers of Soylent Green, which is made of people, have awarded, California juries have awarded $289 million in an historic verdict against Monsanto in the case of a school groundskeeper who developed cancer after using its weed killer Roundup. You know Roundup. You've seen commercials. Your grandpa uses Roundup. Everyone uses Roundup.
Wow.
So now he has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he's unlikely to live past 2020.
Damn, that's only 2 years away.
That's 3 years away.
That's 2 years away.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm just glad that in the last 2 years of his life, this man will be able to found 3 LeBron James, Dr. Umar schools of enlightenment. And no, he'll probably just go to a strip club.
He's probably just, like
He'll go
kids.
to I don't know.
He's probably just going to pay for his funeral.
Yeah.
And leave something for his kids.
That's a lot of something.
Or his parents.
That's a lot of something.
He could have debt.
$289 million. You can't. Poor people can't make that much debt. Yeah, but you can't make that much debt. You can't make that much debt as a poor person. That $289 million ain't gonna do it for you. That's impossible. That man's his family is set for life.
What a blessing that he won't pass on and have motherfucking collections going after his kids or his mom or whoever.
Indeed. All right, another headline. Some people's faves, Rep. Keith Ellison. Okay, you know this guy. He's the Muslim from Minnesota. He's a black guy from Minnesota, Democratic. All right, Minnesota. We like Minnesota. That's Prince. Where Prince is from. It's dope. Anyways, we like this guy. He was considered to be a favorite to win a 5-way Democratic primary for Attorney General in Minnesota on Tuesday. Then he was accused of abuse by a former girlfriend.
Woo!
Yep.
Uh-oh.
And he's, of course, vehemently denying it because that is...
This is the second time, though.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Publicly.
This is the second time he was publicly accused of domestic violence. Another woman, Amy Alexander, spoke out in 2006. That's before Obama. As we refer to it here as B.O.
Oh, it Lord. Says that Candy. I'm sorry. It said here that with the first one, she said he verbally abused her while they were having an affair, and he grabbed her and pushed her during an argument. It said Ellison denied even having a relationship with her. And I'm like, well, you better. It's an affair, and I mean,
yes.
What do we expect? Really?
So what do we expect? But what this really speaks to is like, this
is the last one. Let me just
please open this. It's so irritating in my ears. I can't even tell you how much.
It's like in the movie theaters when it gets really silent and then somebody's like opening up their gobstoppers.
I'm sorry, people on the internet. Unless you guys have an ASMR fetish, that shit is annoying as fuck to you. I actually listen to videos that are 20 minutes of people just doing that, but that's in a different state of mind. Okay, so the thing is, there are similarities between both the accounts. Both women were involved in the Minnesota progressive politics, and they described Ellison losing his temper and using threats, verbal harassment, and violence. And here's the thing I want to talk. Here's the thing that basically made me think about this is that this just happened. We just went through this with Juno Diaz, right? When your favorite gets accused of some bullshit, right? What do you do? When your favorite gets accused of some bullshit, what do you do? And with Keith Ellison, I am very sensitive to, on our side, we want to be fair. We want to be righteous. We want to be like, acting in good faith. On the Republican side, they be like fired. What was that name? Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, John, whatever, that guy, James Gunn or whatever his name is. Like, we'll fire that guy just so that we look like we actually are playing fair.
We made Al Franken resign.
Fucking Al Franken. He wasn't even, he wasn't I don't even think Al Franken would resign today for what he was accused of then. I don't even think he would do it
6 months ago?
Yeah, I don't think he would do it. Oh, he already talking about running again. I mean, I
feel like that's like a Trump thing. That's like, well, we know. Excuse me. So it's very possible people will still vote.
Very much so.
Him, and how can they argue with that?
Very much so. I just like. But obviously we're talking about it, so the shit is now out there. But again, it does beg the question for me of what do we do with these people? How do we rehabilitate these men? I mean, do we just throw these people away when they fuck up like this? Because it's not just even men anymore. Now we're getting stories of women in positions of power who have harassed men and other women who have come to defend that woman. There was a case that just came out recently that I can't remember because I didn't save it because I for some reason do not have a Me Too section in my Feedly. But as a moral imperative, obviously women have the same power to abuse, have the same capacity to abuse power as men. But in the case of these people who do good works or seem to be doing good works, is there any room or any space for redeeming these people, or are we just throwing them away? I don't know.
Well, I think with that one especially, I mean, I'm very much on the side of believe women. But I think when you have someone in the high position of power, you know, it is harder. Yes, we should believe women, and you do have an uphill battle if you don't have any proof. So I was reading, she won't release the video that apparently proves her point. I mean, and maybe she's saving it for court.
Sure. And
also texts that have been she has released are cropped and cut, and none of what she has actually revealed actually corroborate the verbal abuse or violence. Again, I'm not to imply that it didn't happen, but I think particularly, I mean, I would hope, I guess I just have a soft spot for people who quote unquote are doing good, that will try to go through certain channels. I think when it's more just a matter of pop culture and do we like them or not, then there is more room for popular opinion. If popular opinion is what got you to be famous, then maybe popular opinion will bring you down.
Yeah.
But if you were elected and you're doing a job, I don't think popular opinion should just take you out your job, because that's without proof, because that is, you were not put in based on just popular opinion. And that's not your primary role in the society, is to be popular and available to us as an entertainer. So, I mean, that's just me.
No, I mean, no, that's
kind of how I view
that's nuance. That's good
a little
nuance.
Separately, I mean,
it's very
sure,
tight
it's flawed.
nuance. It's very tight nuance going on in these conversations. And another thing to remember is that, you know, that muddies the water, I'll say. And I'm not saying this by way of like Breitbart-esque or Alex Jones or conspiracy theory. I'm saying like that to throw doubt, to cast doubt for doubt's sake. But we do know that the Russians, they know that interfering in our elections is a good way for them to at least attempt to influence the outcome of certain decisions. So it's very difficult for me to imagine that absolutely nothing, that it's all just the internet. You know what I mean? They had a woman.
Well, right, they're using the internet.
Yeah, they had a woman who infiltrated the NRA, sleeping with people, giving up the poon in order to influence votes on whatever, in order to get access. And I'm like, if they're willing to do that, I'm like, we on some spy
right,
shit.
We do need, I think, especially if it's related to anyone who's up for re-election, I think we do need to have a more nuanced.
Your lighter, come on.
I think it would be great to have a more nuanced view of what to do with them. I mean, this is not saying the guys who are caught sexually abusing underage children or having relationships, these secret, relationships, not those who have 20 people saying they sexually harassed me at my work. I think we should be intelligent enough to say we can prove that.
Yeah, I mean...
the evidence is overwhelming, the testimonies are overwhelming, and again, a mere entertainer, in my opinion, is never above getting knocked off.
No, mere entertainer. Yeah, fuck entertainers.
Because, as we all know, in your home or in your heart, you can always appreciate and enjoy the music, no matter what you think of or what happens to their individual person.
That's exactly right.
That's kind of like a non-issue, really. It really doesn't affect how you sleep at night. But when certain Congress people have to resign or are not there to cast certain votes, it could possibly affect
right. Exactly.
Your
then
life.
More people are disproportionately, like, more suffer. The victim suffers, and then other people. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But we don't have a system, really. We really don't have.
Well, it's a cold calculus, and I read this. It's a cold calculus, and I read this this article on philosophy, because I know people love philosophy. You guys love philosophy. I like philosophy. Philosophy is super dope. That's talking about, like, basically the systems morality that sort of govern our analysis of those situations. And it's really a funny thing. It's like something in comic books and action films we see all the time. But essentially what it is, the essential question is a human life expendable for the purpose of preserving more life? In other words, is there an asymmetrical relationship to the value of life? Should the few die so that the many can live? Or is it like in the superhero films where it's like, we're not sacrificing anybody, everyone wins, or we all just fucking blow up on this PlayStation? That is always a
central conflict, particularly with superheroes, because they often have the ability, or due to various time constraints, they actually don't, despite their superpowers.
That's right.
Have the ability
Yes.
to save an individual person and also the rest of the world.
That's right. That's right.
It's funny you say that. This is totally random, but I had a friend. I saw his Instagram post. I guess he had to kill a rattlesnake, but he
Okay.
felt some kind of way about it because he didn't really want to kill this animal.
Nope.
But
I wouldn't.
it was in an area where there were like 150 human beings.
Oh shit.
So he was like, I had to sacrifice this life to save these 150 lives.
That's real.
And it was super fucking real.
That's real. That's real. I mean, it's the same thing like when people who own livestock or live in, the country and still
Right, they have
live.
to kill some to eat.
Yeah, they have to kill
people.
They also have to kill
rural
things.
communities.
They also have to kill things to protect their livestock.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand. Like they're not killing coyote. They're not going out with a shotgun and kill coyotes
Right,
because
if
they
you're
like killing
raising a sheep,
coyotes.
if you got a sheep farm, you can't let all the wolves just pick your sheep off.
Exactly right. So, anyways, it's just something to think about, like the harm that is done. Like, what is the ultimate objective in the things that we do when it comes to justice? When it comes to, it goes back even to our prison industrial complex, because obviously the purpose of our prison industrial complex is to extract money from suffering.
Yes.
That's it. Just to extract money from suffering, rather than what we think of typically as the original idea of it. Words mean things, sense of, a reformatory, or, saying a place, a place where, a place where people can go and learn about themselves, and learn skills to contribute better. What you laughing at?
Yeah, I just caught up with some of the Facebook Live comments, so.
Mel came back with snacks.
I did come back with snacks, and then somebody else spotted even more details that it was the kids' party bag.
Oh damn! It sure was.
We went to a party on Sunday.
It sure was. Tosh caught that. It sure was.
It practically still had them.
You know why? Because we don't let our kids eat that shit. We don't let our kids eat that terrible stuff.
It was a cocoa theme.
That's right.
Remember me. I was feeling it.
We don't let.
And I love Genevieve's too. So thank y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for watching.
We don't let
us
kids
just let our hair down.
You know what I'm saying?
After working and dealing
right.
with children.
Damn right. Damn right. Okay, so
all right. Did I have any other fun culture stuff?
I don't know, because I ain't even gotten in my catching hell stuff yet.
No, we're not catching hell yet. We're still talking about good things.
I've definitely had some headlines that were some bad things so far. So,
but
it's just
I think I basically
things.
caught my things. I talked about. Oh, well, the one other thing I did want to talk about, and you kind of alluded to it with the other dude and his money. Mm-hmm. LeBron James opened up this amazing fucking school.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I Promise School. I believe it's in Akron, Ohio, where he's from. Where in the 4th grade, he didn't have no money. He was missing so many days of school. I'm sure a teacher told him he wouldn't amount to anything. Mm-hmm. And he has persevered time and time again to become one of the most successful
elite athletes of our time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he spent several $100 million establishing the I Promise School. I believe it's K through 5th and plans to increase. It's
a public school at that, not a charter, a public school.
It's completely free tuition for these kids who, and if they live, within a certain amount of miles of the school, they will get free transportation to and from. There's lunches included, uniforms, everything's new and amazing. And there's a beautiful video of this little boy. He couldn't be more than 8, just looking around with such wonder and amazement at his new school that he got to go there. And when we talk about what are people doing and who's giving money, it's like, this is what you do.
That's what you do.
You don't have to like him as a player, but that's the thing too. When we talk about all these other scandals and it's difficult because it's like, well, what do their characters show?
Yeah.
And I think that's where some of the conflict is, because in the public eye or at people's jobs and how they present themselves, we think they're so successful, so upstanding, but then in their personal lives, it's mad messy. And oftentimes it is, toxic. So here's an example of someone whose public persona and entertainment image you might not love, but as a person, he seems to be more upstanding than most. No affairs, he's putting his money where his mouth is, he's giving back, and he's really giving a lot of kids an opportunity. And imagine just what that must increase job opportunities for people living in that neighborhood. The school got to run, you got to hire people, educators. And can you imagine just having something like that in your community, in your neighborhood, being able to send your child to that school, and previously you know they were at a failing school, It's just a beautiful thing. And
yeah, it's
we need more of that.
Pulling possibilities where, you know what I mean? Like, that's, if money at its highest, capitalism, if you were to see capitalism in its best light, what capitalism is the belief in possibility. It's the belief that money is a measure of opportunity, and I love when people put their money into possibility. That is the problem. The whole problem with our economy right now is that the corporations are reaping record profits right now and have huge cash reserves domestically and internationally because of the tax Trump cuts and because of like years of unfettered deprecation in terms of like taxation and tariffs and all that kind of shit. They're doing so well, but they won't invest that money back into the people that work in the companies. You're not seeing a rise in actual wages and rates. What you're seeing is that more people at the top are getting these bonuses. What you're seeing is that companies are buying back more of their shares from their shareholders. So people that bought shares are getting rich. And that's great for all of the 1%, all of the millionaires. All the millionaires out there are doing really fucking tight right now. But all of us out here who actually just going to work every day with wages and working for companies are not feeling anything. I mean, like, I'm doing really well in terms of where I came from in originally socioeconomically. And even I feel the pinch daily of what shit is. Like, if I told you that I made 6 figures and I told you how in debt I was and how fucking I'm trying to just skate from moment to moment, it sounds like I'm fucking making this shit up, but I'm not making it up. It's just crazy. It's crazy fucking.
I wish we could make that story up.
It's crazy out here, y'all. It ain't even close to what you thought as a kid was going to be a situation, man.
I love that comment. Somebody said, "What the hell is Jeff Bezos doing?"
Fuck yeah, man. What the fuck is Jeff Bezos doing? Yeah. Like, he the richest man in the universe right now.
Can you believe you turned that garage operation into this?
Well, you know what, I do believe that shit, because he's a white man and anything is possible for a white man. But what I will say is this, is that in stark contrast to that is Bill Gates, who everybody's shitting on for being a nerd, and Microsoft was shitty. That
Bill Gates Foundation has helped millions of people.
The only reason he is not the richest man in the world right now is because him and his wife have been giving away their fortune.
Their money away.
Giving their fortune away to people that it benefits in the rest of the developing world and around the world.
True.
So I mean, yeah, man. So like, yeah.
Shout out to Bill.
There is truth and light in this situation, but it's a whole lot of bullshit that obfuscates it. So anyway, so basically what I'm saying is,
I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field and don't notice it.
That's all I'm saying. That's basically my whole point, my whole thesis about this shit. That's my whole religion. Anyways, let's get into some catching hell.
Oh God.
Because there's so much good stuff out there. So the racists came back to Charlottesville for some reason.
It's the anniversary.
Jesus Christ, I don't even know why. So, yeah, and it was rainy that day, and guess what? Like a dozen of them showed up. That's right.
They're not really about that life.
They not about that life. But guess who did show up? A gang of motherfucking anti-racists, a gang of Antifa, a gang of Black Lives Matter, a gang of every goddamn body else. You know who showed up? America showed up, y'all. America the fuck showed up. And you know who else? You know what else is dope? Is that America has enough shame, and we ain't, as they used to say back in the day, Mommy, you ain't far gone enough to know. You know what I'm saying? To know that you ain't that far gone to know. So these motherfuckers know that being a racist, being a Ku Klux Klan man would look stupid as fuck. David Duke is petrified right now because he's afraid that Spike Lee's film is going to make him look like an idiot. Do you see the power that we're talking about right here? The power of portrayal, the power of telling the story.
Right, because that story in Black Klansman that they infiltrated the KKK to basically get insider early information about attacks that they were planning to terrorize black people. That's based on a true story.
It's real.
And this is the time when David Duke basically was that point guy.
Yeah.
So he's the one who didn't know, who basically got duped. So,
and they were like, and exactly, and also telling that story is that was the moment that the Klan was trying to make the PR transition from being hoods and burning crosses to being community picnics and after school programs. You know what I'm saying? While still preaching the same crazy bullshit. So I mean, there's a lot of resonances from today, in that this whole alt-right nonsense, which is being repackaged and regurgitated us as some sort of enlightened and more educated version of prejudice or whatever, but it turns out it's the same old stupid fucking racism, ethnocentric bullshit that we've been, deconstructing since the 60s.
Also, just to say that that's how you know people don't know their history, because back in the 18th century or 1800s, 19th century, when lynchings in the American South were at their highest, it was a picnic. Honestly, I gotta Google it, but I was reading that the word picnic basically comes from pick a nigger, and where they would basically have a lynching and cook out.
Say word.
Yes, I'm about to Google it right now.
Shit.
I read that. I was like, wait, that's the origins of picnic?
That's fucked up. All right, well, look that up while I get into this next genre. So, President Trump, I mentioned Omarosa before and her fucking shenanigans right now, trying to.
I'm sorry.
All her shenanigans.
Here we go.
But now we're talking about Trump. Trump denies using the N-word, even though there are receipts.
Sorry, I just got to jump in.
Go ahead.
Snopes says that's false. Okay. That picnic did not originate with lynchings.
I'm about to say, man, I feel like the NAACP or something would have been. I feel like the NAACP would have been out by now. Been like, look,
but it is
dead.
Factual that during lynchings, it was very common for people to bring their entire family, children included, and to have their picnic, their food packed, and to sit out. And it was an opportunity to commune with your neighbors.
Yeah, Google that.
Straight up. That is factual.
Okay, and Google that. Google that, and you can find pictures of that. But I will say this, because I'm always about being as inclusive as possible. The truth is, historically speaking, human beings have always been fucked up and loved a public execution. Like, we have long history of human beings that love to come together.
Southern whites did not make that up.
Yeah, no, they inherited that from their ancestors. Yeah. That's one thing they kept going. Yeah. So anyways, President Trump denies using the N-word, even though
this was during Celebrity Apprentice. I didn't quite read the whole thing.
I didn't quite read the whole thing either.
Talking about. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's not even my point. The point, I don't care if he did it. I know he said it. I know he said the word nigger with a hard R. And at some point that'll come out. Sarah Sanders Huckabee, Colonel Sanders, I don't know. She actually said on the mic that no, I cannot guarantee that there is no tape with Trump saying nigger. I mean, even she had to admit that. So, but what Trump did in response to this whole thing was to call Omarosa a dog. A dog. She called
how do you convince people that you don't demean people with your words and call them names, derogatory, demeaning names, by then calling the person who accused you of that a derogatory, demeaning name, whether it's racialized or not? Are people stupid?
No, I don't.
Are people complete idiots?
They might be. That's possible. I'm not going to rule that out. We got to be scientific. But it says, when you give a crazed, crying lowlife a break and give her a job at the White House, I guess it just didn't work out. Good work by General Kelly for quickly firing that dog. Now, here's the thing. Omarosa is female, and he called her a dog. So I think I don't know if you can read between the lines, but I very clearly hear him saying, calling him a.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like he's just calling her a bitch.
But he can't. But the irony is, he can't come out and say it. He's basically doing the equivalent of a Key and Peele going, that low life. Because he knows if he came out and actually said that he would eradicate whatever standing he still has amongst suburban female voters who for some reason still think that this man is a worthwhile is a worthy I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? Like, they voted for him is all I'm getting at. White women voted for Trump, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable when you look at what this man says and what he does. But okay, he called her a bitch. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. The thing is, I don't even feel bad for Omarosa. I'm just saying,
she's trying to sell her book.
I'm just saying the fact that we're letting him get away with calling a woman a bitch in the era of Me Too is like fucking outlandish.
But I mean, I understand what you're saying, but we are past outlandish. She said, "Grab him by the pussy" on tape. It doesn't get any more outlandish than that. In this society, in this puritanical based society. It does not get any more outlandish by saying you can do whatever you want. You can grab him by the pussy, and you still get elected president. It doesn't. It will never matter what he says.
That's all I got to say.
It will never matter. Like, Something might take Trump down, but it is not going to be something he said.
I can't.
It's not going to be something he said.
I'm here all week, kids. Residents are boycotting a Tulsa beauty supply store after the owner assaults a black woman over a 99-cent keychain.
Well, they attacked a 50-something-year-old black grandmother in Brooklyn over a $5 eyebrow threading. Her granddaughter was not happy with the service and didn't want to pay for that. Meanwhile, they did get manis and petties and paid for that. And not only did they were beating her with a stick, and one of the workers was restraining the granddaughter, and she's like, "Why are you hitting my grandmother?" It's crazy. I mean, there were multiple arrests. I think the owner and one of the customers was charged with assault, and it's I think it shouldn't just be that we're surprised at the low amount that is being disputed. I think we need to start talking about the fact that if there is a conflict at a business, this is how, I think, particularly when dealing with black people, how shop owners feel that they can treat these customers.
Well, this is actually kind of some good news. Baltimore, it's like what I call this is horrifically good news. A Baltimore police officer was indicted after violently beating somebody. On Tuesday, Baltimore's State Attorney General Marilyn Mosby announced that the former officer would be charged with assault. A former Baltimore police officer was seen brutally beating a black man in a viral video over the weekend and will face charges of assault and misconduct in office stemming from the August 11th incident. What is really disturbing about this is that it is a black police officer.
But you know what? I really don't have any hope that he will actually be charged, because this is the same city where the cops, several of who were black, gave Freddie, what was his last name? Gray, a rough ride and severed his spinal cord, and then tried to act like, oh, we don't know how he died. We just put him in the back of the paddy wagon. And there were black police officers who were charged. This same Attorney General, Marilyn Mosby, she charged them. She, filed arrests or whatever, put warrants for their arrest, but they were acquitted. So, I think it is sad that it's the same, people of color doing this to their own, but that has already been shown on the national scale that it is a blue wall. When they go out there, they're police. They're not black. That's right. And they certainly aren't looking at the other people as one of their own.
That's right. And also, historically speaking, it is not the first time that niggas have been used to keep niggas down. That's just not a thing.
No, that's just the main way.
So,
that's the easiest way.
So another thing that came... Oh, and also I should note that Baltimore police officer is no longer with the department anymore. He either quit or they let him go. But
I'm grateful for her, because I know when those officers were on trial, she was catching a lot of heat, and I hope she's not up for re-election this year.
I know that's right. Another thing, speaking of LeBron James came out because he loves black women, and so he posted, nothing in this world is more powerful than colored women. All right. Thank you all for continuing to not settle and setting great examples in life for so many, looking up to you for inspiration, guidance, and love. My daughter is watching. #women power. And I just want to give a special shout out for bringing back colored women, colored people, y'all.
I think
I love this shit.
It was meaning women of color.
Yes, but I love the fact that we are reclaiming all this shit, because what is it? Person of color. What's the difference between person of color and fucking colored person? Come on, that's the same fucking shit. They just brought it back. But
basically, nobody was even tripping off that. They were tripping because it seemed to exclude white women.
I'm sorry. That's right. That's not even the point. You're absolutely right. That the point is that a lot of white women.
Well, there's a wonderful woman on Instagram. She was really issued a challenge and challenged white women who felt like they were conscious and had their hearts in the right place, and the pussy hat wearers, to really examine how they are complicit in white supremacy. And she got a lot of flack because as she posed each question each day, or if she spoke about something that was exclusive to black women's experience and asked respectfully that white women not comment, and people did, they were reporting her posts as racist. And there is I mean, I think all people need to do it, but especially white women, because they are so close to the nexus of power that has been set up that is inherently racist. It is a difficult thing to examine how you truly have benefited from something that you would quickly say you don't believe in and you don't support, but you know you're happy with your life and you love your family. So how do you come to terms with those uglier, darker parts of your identity that upon close analysis do oppress women of color or people of color, and what are your inherent biases, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not necessarily your fault completely. This is how you were raised and your culture, raised you. So, but are you willing to really do the work to figure that out? Or are you just going to wear a pussy hat and carry signs and basically Instagram the fact that you were at the protest?
Yeah, probably they're going to do that. That's probably what they're going to do.
Well,
That's probably what they're going to do. I'm
not saying it's easy.
No, it's definitely living in reality is not easy, but it's a lot easier if you have money to insulate you from it, and they don't give a fuck.
The other thing I was saying when you were talking about, we were saying glad that Marilyn Mosby is still Attorney General and was hopefully not up for re-election. The Attorney General, I believe, in where was Mike Brown gunned down?
Ferguson.
God.
Yes.
Ferguson.
God.
You didn't tell me
I didn't say nothing.
I know.
You said, thank you, brain. Yes, I'm here for you.
Thank you to my brain.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Basically, they voted that motherfucker out.
Oh, shit.
He had been the district attorney or whatever. I don't
Fantastic.
Maybe not attorney general, but district attorney for decades.
That's yes, and
a young black dude beat him out.
I love it.
And it's like, again, it's like whether you just walked out.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
It's true. It's like, so basically, don't confront people of color on the street for doing some shit that's none of your goddamn business. And if you do some bullshit and abuse your position of power because you're racist, we might take you down. We are. We will.
It's gonna happen.
It's happening.
So let me keep that joy going. Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, again, more horrific good news. The guy who you guys remember in Florida, the home of Florida man, and all that shenanigans. A guy was harassing a black family in a parking lot because they had parked in a handicap space. The guy was not trying to park in a handicap space, nor was the guy handicapped. But he felt like he was the police. He got himself confused. He got confused. He thought he's the police. So he started harassing this woman and asking all his questions.
With her children present.
A family. The man came out of the store. Came out of the store, saw what was going on, and did what the fuck he was supposed to do. And he defended his family, and he pushed the man away from his family. Pushed the man away. Pushed him. Not punched him, pushed him.
And this guy was definitely harassing
and was in her physical space, was in the physical space
the woman
of
and her
this
children.
Woman. So he did what he was supposed to do. He stood his motherfucking ground, and he pushed this man away from his family. And this bitch ass man,
who had fallen on the ground,
took 4 to 5 seconds to premeditate pulling out his weapon. Do you hear what I said? Took 4 to 5 premeditated seconds to pull out his weapon and then fire on the unarmed man who was defending his family. Fuck this motherfucker,
Marquise McLaughlin is his name, and this poor soul was killed in front of his children.
Fuck that shit.
So this crazy ass dude was trying to say, I was standing my ground. And when you listen to the police or the sheriff, whoever gave the public remarks to the press, was like, well, if you see the video, it was a very violent push. He was violently pushed. He was pushed down onto the ground. And you could hear how it's his right to stand his ground. And it was like, ew. No. Ew. You're just as motherfucking racist as the rest of them. You're disgusting. For you to even try to turn your mouth any kind of way to say that this man was justified in killing him when this motherfucker was in the wrong.
Can you imagine?
So all that to say, the prosecutor rejected the murderer's claim that he was standing his ground.
Can you imagine?
And that he could be charged for the death.
Let's do some a time to kill
Marquise
shit.
McLaughlin.
A time to kill shit, okay? Can you imagine if that black man had gunned that white man down, if instead of pushing him, he took out his gun and shot him, and the police came and they said, why did you shoot this man laying here? And he said, because he was attacking my family and harassing us in this parking lot. That nigga would be on death. He'd be getting the first fentanyl shot in Florida. It's just unbelievable, man.
So, I mean,
come on, you can't tell me no different.
It's hard to even like celebrate these so minor, I don't even want to say wins, but like tiptoed steps towards actual justice. It's like, damn, I'm supposed to be grateful for that? That's fucking crumbs.
Unbelievable.
That his bullshit defense isn't gonna fly.
Yeah.
We're still only charging him.
He's
exactly.
Yeah.
There's still no consequence to his actions. He's just not getting off scot-free in this time, and that's not always the norm.
Unbelievable.
Ooh, please tell me Aretha didn't die. I can't handle it.
Okay, that was the other yes, y'all. Is that Aretha Franklin is alert and we got, okay, for y'all who've been asleep all day, reports came in early this morning that Aretha was very sick and was ailing, and we didn't know what was going on. So I asked everyone on my Facebook page and everyone on my social medias to send your prayers out, because Aretha Franklin is such a big part of just the black consciousness and understanding of what it is to be alive and to be a part of blackness, and just everyone has a connection and a pathway to the music that she has created. It has affected and influenced everyone in the diaspora, and it's just, we know that every body is mortal and that everyone has to go eventually to the beyond and become an ancestor, but it's just certain icons like this, and I felt like it was just a moment where we should really just appreciate how fucking dope Aretha Franklin is.
Oh,
how
she's amazing.
Singing, songwriting ass. I mean, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, no Beyonce without Aretha. No Rihanna without Aretha. No, none of this. Right? Okay, so anyways, thank God. Apparently she's alert and laughing at the end of the day, and everybody's showing their respect. Beyonce, everybody, we all showing our respect, man. And that's the way we should do with our ancestors. We should respect these people, and try to forgive their flaws and concentrate on how far they've brought us, so that we can continue to work on this shit. You know what I mean? So it's really, really important. Another yes, y'all. Talk about some good stuff. There's a 29-year-old venture capitalist who's putting money in the hands of women of color, or as I and LeBron like to call them, colored women. A 29-year-old vice president at Tremantium Capital. I'm going to say y'all made that up. That's not a real word. And the founder of 2065 Fund. I love that she just named her shit basically Vibranium Capital. That's basically what she named it. She just named it Vibranium. I'm going to call it. I see what you're doing there. Vibranium Capital, and founder of 2065 Fund. Abaya Nicole Wynn is a rare venture capitalist, a woman of color in an overwhelmingly white industry where only 0.2% of black women receive funding for their startups. That is an amazing thing. You should go to Black Enterprise and read all about that. I am not going to tell you the whole story because there is a wonderful interview and I do not have the time to tell you all about it. So it is a great thing. Another thing is a new political forces emerged that may help advance the economic and wealth building status of African Americans. It's called the Black Economic Alliance, an organization of leading African American entrepreneurs and executives, announced today that it has already raised $3.5 million to impact highly competitive gubernatorial, U.S. Senate, and House races in state and districts, respectively, with sizable black populations and where such turnout during the midterm elections could prove decisive. And I am so excited about this because I have been saying for years that black people are going to be the new Jews of America. And what I mean by that is that we're going to become a minority of importance, of outsized political influence and capital in America, and that you are going to want our dollars, our agreement, and our we are going to become more and more, as the Diddy's and the Jay-Z's and the Beyoncé's have children, and those people grow up rich and knowing how to work with money and how to move money and how to move with lobbying. We're talking about the Malia Obamas. We're talking about the Sasha Obamas of the world. We're going to move into a different era. Finally, the stone that the builder refused will become the head cornerstone. I see it. This is a part of that. And we should all be paying attention to these organizations which are putting money and capital into lobbying. Lobbying is where it's at, guys. I mean, it's great that you're going out and protesting and making sure that this stays in the public and that the media is activated. That is one wing of it. But the other wing of it is money.
Have you also heard about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund? They are using crowdfunding platforms to get people all over the country to invest in real estate. So, they're trying to provide easy access to unlimited secure real estate deals in any market in the United States. And, essentially, they are naming it after the location where there was Black Wall Street. And one of the first, so basically you can put in, $500 if you wanted to invest. And they are going to be buying real estate properties around the country.
I love that.
And they're using crowdfunding to do it. And, they reached their first $1 million or whatever. So they've submitted a cash offer to buy back original Black Wall Street buildings. Part of me is like, dang, if I had money, would I do that? It's like, what's that about? Sometimes it's like, not having that fear to almost take a risk. It's better that than what? Just the same old shit that you don't even believe in or what. And then also the other thing we were talking about, again, the black dollars, the woman who founded Blavity, the Black Art, Culture, Entertainment, whatever digital website, Morgan DeBron, just raised another $6.5 million.
Okay.
For her company, and at this
Fantastic.
point, she's raised more money than any other Black female founder in 2018.
You know why that's extra good news too? Because friend of the show and brethren podcast In the Black, his brother, Sean's brother, works at Blavity.
He don't work there no more.
He doesn't work there anymore. That's what I meant. Fuck Blavity. He don't work at that place no more.
I don't think he works there
Okay,
anymore.
my bad. I'm putting his business out there. I'm sorry. We'll discuss that later, brethren.
Sorry, offline.
Steph Curry has helped raise, speaking of Nia Wilson, has helped raise more than $21,000 for Nia Wilson's
that's in
family.
The Bay. Where he from?
That's right.
Nia Wilson is one of two sisters who were stabbed, had their throats cut while waiting at a BART station.
That's right.
Platform.
Yeah.
And by literally a crazy random white dude.
Basically.
Literally a crazy random white dude who just rolled up on him, and her sister survived.
A crazy random alleged white supremacist.
And
white dude,
but Nia,
to be clear,
what was she, 18 years old, did not, and it's just one of the most horrific, tragic stories.
Just terrible.
So I'm glad to hear that people with money and influence are raising awareness and trying to raise money.
Shout out to NFL's first male cheerleaders.
Oh, I did read that.
Making their debut preseason.
What are their names? Come on, let's shout them out.
They are Quentin Perrone or Perrin, depending on the pronunciation.
It's definitely Perrone.
I hope it's Perrone.
It's gotta be.
We also very West Coast. We're definitely reading that with West Coast eyes.
Perrone.
Quentin Perrone. And Napoleon Jennings will soon make history.
What?
Jennings. That has to be Jennings, right?
I'm like,
you can't choose your last name though, can you?
But why would you choose Napoleon as your first name?
Black people do everything. Napoleon is a very African American name because Napoleon wrote Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon, whatever his name is, wrote Think and Grow Rich.
We do name a lot. I mean, anyways.
We do
name people like Jefferson.
Goddamn right. We be taking them names.
I remember first reading about George Washington Carver. I was like, what? You just gonna put the first president's name up in the name?
Reappropriate, man. Reappropriate. I was born Vincent. One of my cousins who was killed in New York. It's weird shit we be naming stuff out. It's like, why would you want to put the name of somebody that just died on? Whatever.
It's a way of
it's just black people. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Quinton and Perrone and Napoleon Jennings will soon make history as the first male cheerleaders in the NFL. The two classically trained dancers from California. California. Knows how to party. Yeah. Made it through an extensive audition process to make the 2018 squad for the Los Angeles Rams. Of course.
I love it. I mean, maybe I'll have to catch like a half
That's
pre-show.
so fucking LA. Of course,
I'll
LA
have to
is.
catch a pre-show or a halftime show. I don't really watch football. I certainly don't watch football with all the NFL drama. But I'm happy for these guys.
That's fucking dope. That's fucking. You know what I say to that?
Yeah, Celie. Everything want to be loved.
I mean,
The Color Purple just explained everything to you.
It really does.
It really
And,
does.
you know, my very minimal experience as with classical ballet as a adult, I see how hard people work for decades to then be able to try and get a position like this. It's not easy. And the numbers are even smaller for males. And they have to fight all the stigmas of being dancers. So I'm very, very excited for
Right on.
them. And I hope that they enjoy their time there.
Wonderful.
And don't get hurt.
All right, guys. The time has come.
There's so much more catching hell. Oh,
I know.
Oh, I almost forgot. Okay, one more thing.
One more. That's it.
So I know y'all have heard me talk about my little podcast that only had one little episode. It's called Off the Page with Melissa Kay. My one and only guest so far was Nigella Mumin, a film maker and screenwriter. And we talked about her first feature film, Gin, right before it premiered at South by Southwest.
Which has been picked up.
And yes, that's what I wanted to tell
Sorry about that.
everyone is that as of today, it was announced that her film Gin has obtained a distributor who's going to release the film in theaters, motherfucking theaters, not just Amazon Prime, in real brick and mortar theaters in November. And I believe it's being distributed by Orion and MGM. So this is just a huge accomplishment. One of the reasons why I wanted to interview her is because I have seen her hard work throughout the years, and I knew that this film was really going to be the one that opened up all the doors and that people were going to finally be incapable of dismissing her talent and her gifts in looking at what she created. So please, in addition to all the other films we talked about, you got a few more months, but please keep Gin on your radar. And of course, I'll keep talking about it on the podcast until it comes out. So go Nigella and go the whole cast and crew of Gin. And thank you to these distributors who are trying to really see what's out there and give varied stories a chance.
Yay! I love that.
That is a good ending.
That is a fantastic ending. And I think the recurring theme, we just really have to reemphasize this, is
I think it pisses God off.
Oh my
Walk by
God.
the color purple in a field.
yeah.
Don't notice.
That's right. Goddamn right. Shout out to Al Billups. Thank you for hanging with us tonight, my brother. My co-host on the other show that you guys should check out called We Come From Bad News, where we discuss things from a black male perspective, coming from where we come from. And it's really dope. We talk about religion and politics a little bit, but mostly pop culture and music. And we get really in depth with reviews. And we just reviewed Nicki Minaj's record. We just talked about Succession, a great show on HBO. We really just get into it. You know what I'm saying? It's a good time. You should come check us out. It's a growing movement. Get down with it. Honey, where can the people find you and all that kind of good stuff?
Well, I am on the gram at Melissa K. Anderson. K is spelled out Kay, because that's my middle name. And I'm on Twitter at Melissa K. Says, similarly spelled out. Obviously, we're on the Facebook and the gram and the Twitter, all at Woke with Kids is where you can find our official sites and profiles. Do we have any shout outs that we want to talk about?
Let me see what we got here. We got a couple people on SoundCloud. K-Da. We appreciate you.
Hey, girl.
Miss Twisted Dresses. It's a new one. Al Diddy, of course. We just talked about you.
Thank you, Al.
B Mills. Stay talking ish.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Just Say Words podcast. We always appreciate your support.
Yes, we do.
And Two Squares podcast.
Thank
Peace
you very much.
and love to you.
Much.
And I'm not even going to check because I'm pretty sure. But you need everyone who's listening to this. Of the hundreds of people that are listening to this, could just 2% of you go to iTunes and just please leave a comment. I just need a few more 5-star reviews. Also on Stitcher.
It has been a while.
We're also on Spotify. I mean, it's fine. I get it. I totally get it. I'm exactly that way. I was I listened to KCRW out here for mad years before I became a subscriber and actually started giving money.
I listen to so many podcasts that I just love. I'm saving them. I'm like, oh my God, that's good. I'm writing shit down, taking notes.
Yeah.
I don't go on.
Yeah.
I don't go on and write a review. I think about it. I'm like, oh, you know what I should do? I should write how much I love listening to this conversation.
That's right.
But I don't quite get there.
We know who our audience is. You guys got lives. You probably got kids.
Like,
you got. I'm just saying, like, if you just 2% of y'all, if like just a couple of y'all can catch the Holy Spirit,
catches you.
That's right.
If the lightning strikes, do it. If you think about it and you can, just go for it.
We would appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Okay,
I would too.
Because I know you're listening. I'm not even worried about that.
Thank y'all. We couldn't be at 100 episodes without y'all.
Yay!
I never thought we would be here. That's why I'm clapping.
That's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy.
Honestly, I didn't think we would be here.
That's
I did
right.
not foresee us continuing this.
Yes.
And it is only because there are people listening. Now I'm like, yo, we should need to do this podcast.
I know that's right.
Because when I like podcasts and they don't have a new episode,
it's mad. It makes me
like,
mad.
I
it makes
kind of like, damn, what's up, girl?
Yeah, you okay?
Like, I know you have a life and shit. But
it's like, you all right? Yeah,
what's happening?
You feel away. You feel away.
Thank you guys so much. Share the word, spread the word. Come on, y'all, gather. We just went through a crazy astrological season with the retrogrades and the eclipses. So I hope y'all are have been open to looking at the shadow sides and then really setting the intentions and gaining clarity on what you want to bring forth in the future. We're also moving into the fall, harvest. I'm big into that shit, like seasonal changes. I think it very much can be a powerful time for life. Mm-hmm. to move forward with your intentions. So get with it, y'all. Y'all need some astrological guidance. Check out Chani Nicholas on Instagram or Twitter.
We about to get your show.
Truth. Oh shit! I can do a whole show about crystals.
Yeah, that's the new way. That's the new thing.
I just got some new books, new crystals, and I know quite a few ladies. I mean, hey, basically, if you carry crystals in your pocket or your bra or your purse, ever, get at me. Get at me.
Yeah, you need to get down this crystal game. You need to get down with all this energy and this spiritual shit because it feels good. It feels good. It is good.
It doesn't have to replace your spiritual life, your religious life. It is a complement.
Yeah.
The power of the natural world is a complement to everything else you believe in.
That's all. That's
okay.
all. Listen to Super Soul Sunday. Oprah will tell it to you. She'll explain it to you.
She is on a roll with her.
She'll explain it to you.
Oh my God. I'm all about basically Brene Brown changed my life.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We love you. Until next time.
Rising strong. Get with it, y'all.
Boom. Until next time. Stay woke.
Peace.